how are you?
So I'm good. I know it's in the middle of the holiday season, but I'm not grooming because I'm like, whatever.
Because you're lucky.
It's like, whatever. I will tell you, there are a couple things I do miss around this time of year. Okay. And
Yeah.
that's all the home baked goodies I would get from my clients.
Oh, I know. That's true.
So that's the only thing I miss. Okay. I don't miss anything else. I don't even miss the money from the holiday season because my holiday season was never crazy. It
You know
wasn't.
what? This is the first year. Well, yeah, it kind of is. The first year where I've closed my books down, so I have a very steady client base,
Yep.
and so therefore it's nothing over the top crazy.
Yeah.
There's no fluctuation, which is actually kind of nice.
It is, and I'm going to start sharing this because we still can't stream into the groups we're doing.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that.
No, because it hasn't been in 60 days. Okay.
When did 60 days come up?
I don't know. I'll have to go look it up. So I have to share into the group and onto the page. Stop that.
Gotcha.
Share again to the page. In the meantime, what we're going to talk about today is going to be first aid kits. Wrong one. Discard. I'll do it later. I can't figure that out on the phone. Can't do two things at once. We're tired. All right, so we're going to discuss first aid kits today. And the thing is with kits, so I'm not calling it a pet first aid kit. I'm calling it a first aid kit because
Mhm.
the needs of my household, all right, include myself, chronically ill husband, and 4 dogs. Okay, I don't have cats. I don't have rabbits. I don't have children. All right. So my kit and the kit that I have is I call it my generic kit, meaning yes, it's buy the stuff that would go into the car if I have to evacuate, but it's actually a very put together kit that it's also for the house. So I don't have like little kits around the house. I have the main one. I have some first aid supplies in the bathroom, no big deal. But the main kits is actually 2 containers. Okay.
Wow. You like your containers.
I love my containers.
I
Okay.
can tell.
When I started to reorganize the house again, because when um when I moved out here 5 years ago, I literally tossed like 2/3 of the house. It was either in the garbage, donated, or my kids were informed, come get your stuff, or it's going into the dumpster, and then I would send them the picture of the dumpster that was in the driveway, so they knew I was serious.
Okay.
Okay. But so I moved about a third of the house that I lived in for like 20 plus years, and I didn't bring a ton of furniture with me. I brought a couple curios, a bookcase, a couple
Where did
tables.
you move from?
Connecticut.
Oh, so that is a far move.
That was a far move. So,
Yeah.
but even still, and I thought this is great. I really pared down my house. Okay. A third of a lot of stuff is still a lot of stuff, Kate.
I get it. When I moved from Illinois to Arizona, you it's a purge.
Yeah. But I found being here a couple years that all of a sudden things were like gathering again in my house. It's like, stop this. Where are you coming from? And so I started to reorganize the house. And one of the ways I was doing it was everything was going into containers, made it easy. Walmart made a mint off of me, off of the containers. Every week I was coming home with 4 of them. And my husband is like, just how many more containers do you need? I don't know, as many as I need.
Now, do you have them all labeled?
No, because they're clear. I could see through them.
Okay.
I'm not Angie.
She's very organized.
Yeah, she would have them labeled. All right, but
And
I
like color coordinated, even though like it's all on the inside.
see through the containers. I know what's inside of them. Or if I could just pick out one thing, like, oh yeah, that's my first aid kit. through the side, it's got obviously medical stuff in it, right?
Yeah.
So there are things that everybody should have in their kit, and then there are things that are specific to you. Okay. You know what this is, Kate?
Is that a quick litter?
What's that?
Is that a quick litter?
Yes, it is.
Ah, look at that.
So that's my kit. So what a quick litter is, this thing, this big,
Yeah.
it's for every job, every place where you work, you should have this. If somebody in your business goes down, can you really lift that person to help them?
You know, in my classes, I have a dummy, and I specifically have people lift it and then put it on the quick litter and then lift it that way so they can see the difference. And it's amazing how much the quick litter will make it easier.
You know what? I should put this in the suitcase when we travel to teach the class as a demo. I better put now. Also, what's in here is I have a piece of paper with some notes, and in it says insulin and Ernie's meds.
For your reminder.
It's a reminder because obviously I can't put insulin in here,
Right.
and I do have some of Ernie's meds in here, but I don't have all of them. But he's got a box by his desk that would be pretty easy just to grab the box and go.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. So besides the litter, and also not even for people. So when we had Spirit was 60 pounds. And one of the decisions that I had made to like not have large dogs in my house anymore was because when I had to get him to the vet by myself, lifting a 60-pound dog into my vehicle was difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A litter would make that so much easier. I mean, even Pooh's the smallest of my dogs. Pooh's only about 10 pounds. Mickey, the other min pin, he is 20 pounds. And you don't realize how heavy 20 pounds is until they're dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have to carry them for a while.
Yeah.
You know, so having means of transport, what's permanently, one of the things that's permanently in one of my cars is a stroller.
Oh, okay.
Fits all the dogs, a little cramped, but I could throw all 4 dogs in and transport them that way as well. Okay. So what else is in my kit? A lot of over-the-counter stuff. I got Pepcid, I got anti-diarrhea. In this particular one, I have a lot of the dog medications that they have outside of the insulin. Mickey is on some pain meds and anti-inflammatories. So I always have a bottle of that here. And anything with medications, you have to go through it from time to time and change it out. Expiration dates and all.
Mm-hmm.
Cecil's got some eye issues, so there's like eye ointments and stuff I keep in here as well. Extra insulin needles. Mm-hmm. I do have a kit that's like the one you have there in your office, and I'll let you talk about that in here. And basically over-the-counter stuff, we got over-the-counter pain meds, eye drops. That's this one here.
So is that tub? Do you have that with your like Go tubs too?
Yeah. All right. And I like this particular size of tub because it's not that heavy. Unless I'm throwing bricks in this thing,
Right.
I can move 2 at a time. The other kit is more first aid. Electrolytes, those little packets, which I keep a bunch of these in my suitcase.
Do you?
I have a first aid kit that lives in my suitcase.
Well, that's good.
You know, I learned my lesson there when the escalator tried to eat me one day.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. So ever since that, it's the things that, you know, do as I say, not as I do.
Well, we all have to live and learn.
Yeah. Well, apparently, live and learn means there is a first aid kit, in fact, in that suitcase right over there, and that travels with me wherever I go.
Is that in a tub?
No, it's not. It's in my,
no, I know. Is it in a container in your suitcase?
It is in a container, but not one of these little nice containers. Okay. So I have a bunch of eye wash. I have masks, cotton balls, because this is also for dogs. I have a nail cutter in here. All sorts of Band-Aids. In fact, one of the things that was on my list for this week was to see where I was with my stash of Band-Aids and whether or not I should be picking more up. But I think
I'm going to the dollar store because then I can get Snoopy Band-Aids.
No. So the only Band-Aids I don't think I have in here, wait, I have the wound closure kit.
Mm-hmm.
This is really nice. For those who don't know what this is, take it out. I don't know how well you can see this.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so it's like a Band-Aid, and you could pull a wound closed with this. So you have to go, and I only have 2 in here. I have to make a list. What else do I got in this box? Oh, Q-tips. What do I got Q-tips in here for?
You never know when you're going to need those either.
I got Q-tips. Okay. But I only have 2 in here. I probably should order another box or 2.
I always say the more the merrier.
The more the merrier. I have hydrocortisone cream. I have triple antibiotic because I don't have cats.
Mm-hmm.
If I had cats, this would be the single ingredient. Okay. I have wound rinses. I have hand sanitizer. I have roll. I have gauze pads. I've got tape in here. What else do I got? Oh, and I also have Sam Splint.
Oh, good.
So this is moldable stuff. So if I was like to hurt my finger, I can wrap my finger around, cut off a piece, and hold it immobile until I can get to medical care.
And you can use that on animals too.
You can use it on animals as well. So I'm sitting here with my list, and I don't have in here big Band-Aids. I know, but I mean the big squares, the big, like, I don't know, 3x3. So I need big Band-Aids and another suture closure. And you can get all this off of Amazon too. What else do I got? Salves and stuff. Anyway. That's my in-house first aid kit. You want to talk about yours?
Sure.
Okay.
You all right over there?
Wheels.
All I hear is a bunch of crashing. So Well, I do have a couple of different first aid kits, and of course, I've got my bigger one that I use. I actually use a fishing tactical gear box for my home one, and I fill that up. But I also always carry something on me, and sometimes I feel like I probably look like a dork, but I don't care. So when even when I take my dogs out for a walk, I will carry something in a backpack and always have some sort of first aid kit on me at all point in time. So whether it's in my car, whether it's on my person, or whether it's in my house, whether it's in my shop, I always have a first aid kit or some sort of supplies that are on me. So I developed a little kit to just be able to have enough supplies to be able to get the job done. So in any instance that I may be in, I have something to be able to at least start the process. So if you go, so this is my first aid kit that I sell on helpllp.com. And I sell two different versions of that. And I sell what I call the basic version and then the more advanced version. And the more advanced version, I put a little bit more stuff in there. So if that's the only thing that you have on you, then you have enough supplies in there for human and animal emergencies. And I get a lot of people that'll sit back and they'll be like, wow, what's the difference between a human first aid kit and an animal first aid kit? And there's a lot of stuff that we can go back and forth and utilize the same things. It's just a matter of, putting a little bit extra in there. I do in the advanced one have the silver biotic. So if you do have a cat, it is safe to use on cats, and then you don't have to go to the triple antibiotic. And then there's other things that I personally carry, like the Union Biao, and that helps stop bleeding, and that's an herbal. And when I use that, you don't feel any type of burn, but it does stop the bleed. And then there's other purposes that could be used for as well, but I'm not going to get into that. So in this kit, and this is what I call my base kit. The advanced kit, I have a human portable CPR mask. It's one of the keychain masks. So if you did have to do CPR on a human, you have a barrier. So a barrier is definitely needed when you're doing CPR from person to person. There's not as much of an importance if you have to do CPR on an animal to have that barrier. And there is no actual mask barrier that we have for animals at this point in time. But I also have in here gloves. You always want to use gloves. If there's any type of blood in any type of situation, you definitely want to have gloves on hand and be able to have that as protection. I also have a pen light. So if we need to look at anything as far as pupil dilation, we have a pen light to be able to do that. But then it's also nice because if you need it for anything else, to be able to look maybe inside an ear, inside a mouth, you have the capability to be able to do that. Medical tape for many, many uses. A pair of tweezers. I know for out here, I can definitely utilize that if we were to run into a cactus, which I hope never ever has to happen. I also have in here bandage scissors, and I like having the scissors in there as well, because if it is a human emergency, a lot of people don't realize, especially if they're going to be doing CPR or if they have to utilize AED, automatic external defibrillator, that you have to go skin contact. So you are going to have to cut off clothing. So to be able to have some type of scissors will help you get to the skin contact even faster. Tongue depressors in there. That for an animal, you can use as a splint. In my kits, I always put a food or bowl in there for the animals. So if you need to give them water, you can. I have emergency water packs in here. So if you need to rinse something out, flush something out, you have water to be able to do that. But then if they need a drink, let's say it's a heat related injury, then at least maybe you can get some fluids in that way too. Ace wrap, these are always good. The Ace wrap is great because you can utilize that for many things. So for human, you can utilize that to bandage up a wound, but this for animals is if needed, and take a first aid class to determine what if needed means. But if needed, you can actually utilize this for a tourniquet, which you can for human too. But I also have, of course, our gauze pads. I recommend having some of the gauze pads that have the hemostatic agent on there. So if you need to, let's say this is an active wound and we really need to stop that bleed as quickly as possible, having that hemostatic agent on the gauze is going to, as you pack that in, help stop that bleed faster. And this is where if you have a bottle of the Yunnan Baiyao, you can pack that in there as well. Ice packs. Ice packs are good for injuries. I used to have heat packs when I was more so in Illinois in the wintertime, because you break that open if you start to have a little bit of frostbite on your fingers and put that in your gloves. Let's see. And the more advanced one, that one I also put in a SAM splint, because the SAM splint you can use for many different things. Triangular bandages are also really good to have on hand. And I'm trying to think, let's see, what else do I normally have in there? I put in packs of honey just in case you have somebody that may be diabetic, that may be going into a diabetic coma because their blood sugars are too low. Then we can pull that out of them with just rubbing a little bit of honey, and that you can also utilize on an animal, and that's safe to do so. So I usually will put honey in there. They also have, I can't remember the name. There's a brand name too that you can actually put in your first aid kit. So if you do have somebody that's diabetic, and you might have that in your kit, where it's like a gel, and that will raise the sugar so they can be pulled out of that diabetic reaction.
I'm not sure. I do not have that in my kit.
Okay. I know it's in my big kahuna kit. That's in my fish tackle box. But I had diabetics in my family, so I definitely have seen diabetic coma and diabetic reactions, and they're not pretty. Let's see what else. Now, hydrogen peroxide, I do include the hydrogen peroxide, and even though I think we're at a day and age right now where it's not a bad idea to be educated on hydrogen peroxide before you go and use it, definitely not something that you want to use on a cat. There's argument now that it's okay, it's still used on if we have to make a dog vomit, but then there's argument that it does mess up the lining of the stomach. So I do know that there are some medications that are out there. I don't know if it's available to the public or if it's just available to veterinarians, but they are
only available to veterinarians. And what I'll teach in the first aid classes is that you should not be doing anything for poisoning unless a vet is actually telling you to do so.
Well, correct. Right. Either a vet or poison control.
Or poison control.
They do have, now they have something where you actually put it in the eye and it makes them vomit.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need to look now. Now I got more research to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we continue, because I got my suitcase kit out.
Oh, good. I wanted to see it.
Okay, so let's do our little quickie commercial. Hold on, maybe.
Are you tired of putting off your emergency and disaster planning manual? Look no further. This 67-page fillable template will make the process a breeze. Simply fill in the blanks for your business and gain access to checklists for supplies, common hazards, debriefing, evacuation and sheltering in place protocols, resources, recovery, maintenance, as well as best intake practices. It's time to take action and be prepared. Get your copy today at positiveed.com/books.
Okay. So this is a fairly new addition to my suitcase. Again, after the escalator tried to eat me one day. EMS thought it was pretty funny that I was like on my way to a conference to teach pet first aid.
And then you get caught in an escalator. That is kind of funny.
Well, yeah. So in here, if you're injured and stuff like that, it's stress. I've got the little packets of the electrolytes. I also have these, and they don't make this anymore. This particular one, it's
Immune boost.
Oh, this thing is great if you're for teaching at conferences. It really helps you like not to get run down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have like my stash, and nobody can have it. I'm not sure what I'm going to replace it with when I'm out. Okay. So I have some stuff from Dr. Cliff too, by the way. So when when the escalator tried to eat me, he gave me this for wound care. And I will say this stuff actually works really well.
What is that? Mineral Plus?
Knowles it's called Oglio, oh my God. Oligoelementi paramanti. Oh my God. This could be like an English. But anyway, Dr. Cliff knows what it is. Okay.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And Michelle Knowles has something similar to this too, by the way.
Michelle Knowles has a lot of things.
Oh, she does.
Yes.
I have some Zymox topical spray.
Okay.
All right. I have pain meds for myself. I have ibuprofen and naproxen, and in the bottle of naproxen, well, no, not in this bottle. Maybe in this one. I also have Tylenol. Nope, not this one. Okay. So maybe I need Tylenol now in here.
See, it's a good thing you went through this.
Well, here's the thing. It was on my list to do this. So, periodically go through this stuff. And both of these bottles are going to get moved into where I keep my stuff, and I'll put fresh bottles in here. Okay. Vetericin wound care. I love Vetericin products, by the way. And then I have Curacin eye wash.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this one? This is also a skin wound cleanser. I do not have hydrogen peroxide in here. I have gauze here, gauze and rolled gauze. Vet wrapped for me. Anti-diarrheal. And all sorts of stuff in this bag, which is mostly Band-Aids. What's this? Oh, Sealed eye wash. This is the company. And I got this off of Amazon too, by the way. I have a little suture kit in here too. And triangular bandage. What's this stuff? Oh, this is Michelle's.
Yeah, that stuff is awesome.
This stuff is really good, but it's in a glass bottle. So I got it kind of padded with gauze and stuff like that. All sorts of Band-Aids and stuff. And I think that's about it. Oh, an antibiotic cream. This one is this triple or regular? No, this one's triple. So I will not be using it at cast up shows. And that comes with me now on every single thing. But now I have to go through it. Might as well just leave all this stuff out and update it before I'm traveling again. Now I got my shopping list. All right. So the point here is the kits are important because if you need it, it's better to have it than have to do a run over to a store to pick up the stuff you don't have. And Amazon Prime is not that quick. You can't
No.
do it in an hour.
And another example, so I was teaching and I put my class through a scenario, and there was this false sense of security because of the fact that they had first aid supplies there. But it wasn't in a kit. And when I put them through this scenario, the emergency was going on over here. And then one person was trying to run around and grab all the first aid supplies that they thought that they might need. In the meantime, they're screaming at them, what do you need? What do you need? But what people don't realize is when you're in that situation, you're not going to hear and see everything that's around you because the adrenaline's kicking in. And so you have tunnel vision. So even though he was asking, they weren't listening because they didn't hear him to know what supplies to have on hand. So now it's a guessing game. Do we need this? Do we need that? And there's all this running around that was completely unnecessary. And when it was done and we talked about it, that's when I said, I understand, there's this false sense of security that we have our first aid supplies on, in our surroundings. But when it comes right down to it, was it not beneficial to have everything in one place that all you had to do is grab a bag, hand it to them, and everything they may have needed is right there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there is, even though you may have supplies around, there is still a need and a purpose to actually have a kit. And if you buy a pre-bought kit,
Yes.
please open the kit and know what you have on hand. I hate when I tell, when I say that and people are like, oh yeah, I still have it. And it's still wrapped up in the plastic. Well,
Yeah. Okay. So one of the first things I bought back in 2002 when I went mobile was that 100 count pet first aid kit. Okay. And the first time I needed to use it was because I sliced my own finger. And I was hoping my 100 count pet first aid kit had a Band-Aid in it. So I took the cellophane wrap off of it, opened it up, and the good news is that, there was a Band-Aid in there. The bad news is that of the 100 count, there was probably about 75 Band-Aids in there. Yeah, prepackaged kits, that's great. And you're never, ever going to find one kit that has every single thing you need in it. I mean,
you can, but you're going to be paying an arm and a leg.
Yeah, I have a friend who has a first aid kit that she brings to dog shows, and she says if I was to sell this kit, I'd have to charge like $250.
Yeah, I mean they're out there, but you will be paying $200-300 or more.
Yeah, and there's things that legally they can't put in the kit that you could use. Like what I don't have in my kit currently is I don't have any liquid Benadryl. The liquid Benadryl gel caps, not Benadryl, the one that you drink. Right?
I know. Like I really want to do like a canine FAC kit, but I don't know if I can get 14 gauge needles. So it's stuff like that. Yes, there's definitely more that we can put on the sites. We can build our own kits, and there's definitely going to be some stuff that I would love to have on hand and be able to give that to my students, but I don't necessarily think I can.
Yeah. So once this we finish up here, I'm heading over to Amazon because now there's things I have to get for my kit.
Yeah.
What can I say? And the litters, those quick litters, they're not that expensive. I think I paid like $25 for it.
Yeah, I think I got them on my site for, I don't know, 24 or 27 or something like that.
Yeah, they're okay. Kate has them on her site too, which is
www.help.com.
Okay. I mean, prepackaged kits are good as a starting point to get the bulk of what you need, and then to make that decision, well, what do I need in my kit as opposed to what everybody else needs.
Yeah.
All right, we will not be back next week. Happy
When are
holidays.
we back?
The next time I have us is for Monday. I think it's the 30th. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Monday the 30th.
All right.
All right.
Until then, everybody have